Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you with another review of an Italian horror movie. This time, it's not a Lucio Fulci movie. I'm afraid I can't remember the director. It's not a director that I'm familiar with. But this is a movie that when I watched it, I didn't know it was this old. It came out, I think, in 1972 or something like that. And this movie in Italy was, I think, released as Carnal Violence or something like that. But when I looked at the Blu-ray I got, it's really cool because it's got the like 3 minute longer. I didn't watch the Italian version, but it's like 3 minutes longer. So I don't know what those extra 3 minutes are. And it's got on the title it said more words than Carnal Violence, but anyway. And then there's the English version, which is the one I watched because I just didn't feel like reading all the dialogue. And this movie is my review, which I had never seen until the Blu-ray came out, and I just blind buyed it because I'm like, Italian horror, it's got to be worth, buying, which it kind of is. I'm coming to review, which was called America Torso, which is kind of a cool exploitative horror movie title, but it really has no, unlike Pieces, where the title fits perfectly with the premise of the movie, Torso really doesn't fit with there's no he doesn't collect torsos or anything like that. The killer doesn't collect torsos, so I don't understand why it's called Torso. So there. But I rewatched this, having not seen it since I originally got it. Since I originally got it, I rewatched it on Jiminy Christmas. I rewatched this recently, and first thing off the bat, oh my stars. The music. This is, again, I think came out in 1972, and it's obviously the people are still dressing very much 60s-ish. It's only a couple of years after the 60s, and the 60s kind of float over in the beginning of the early 70s and stuff, but the music is still like 60s-ish, and the music is just absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, it's just wow. And I actually searched some of the stuff, or searched it on YouTube, and was able to find two tracks or two particular pieces of music that I really liked, and it's just like now I have it forever, so that's cool. I love YouTube for that reason. It's just like, let's see if this soundtrack is on here. Yep, it is. I'd never be able to find this in a store ever, like in the 90s, but now I can just have it for free. Oh, I love it. So So some of the tracks of this soundtrack are available on YouTube if you want to search them, but the music is positively amazing. One of the things I actually really like about this movie, unlike stuff like Zombie and House by the Cemetery that I didn't mention, is that stuff was like filmed in America, and one of the things that's kind of frustrating. One of the things that's cool about this movie is it's actually Italian horror or Italian movie. I wouldn't even necessarily call it, I guess it is like a horror movie, but it's more like a sex, it's kind of regarded as a sex, I don't know if I guess it's kind of, I might as well just call it a horror movie, but it's like a sex horror movie in a weird way, like sexual, whatever. There's a lot of like whatever, even just like young women and just guys oogling them. There's this funny scene where they're just like on this tractor. These beautiful girls are just sitting on the tractor, and all these old men are like, look at those legs and stuff, and just like the whole town is like oogling these girls that are being driven on this tractor back into this, whatever mansion on the top of the hill or whatever. But the movie's, kind of this sex thriller, I guess maybe you could call it. But what was I saying? Oh, I think I was saying that one of the things that's really cool about this movie, instead of being actually filmed in New York or whatever, the East Coast, it's actually filmed in Rome, which is really cool to be able to just see. I'd actually like to go there. I don't know if I ever will. I'm probably too lazy to actually go. You can pretty much go there just by watching these movies, but for me, that's one of the things that's great about this movie, is being able to actually see, actually Italy, and instead of it being filmed in the East Coast in America, I was gonna, as the movie went on and more women kept taking off their tops or becoming naked and stuff, it occurred to me I should have counted how many different naked women there are in this movie, but alas, I did not go back and rewatch it only to count. But there's gotta be at least 5 or 6, maybe even 7, I don't know. I'd say 5 or 6 for sure, different naked women, whether it's full nudity or just toplessness. You see at least 5 or 6 different pairs of tits in this movie. which to a guy who likes that stuff is kind of cool. These women are pretty. I really like. I've said it in reviews before. I really have a thing for like European women, man. And these women, wow, I kind of feel like one of them old guys in them scene is staring at them on the tractor. But pretty cool. This movie obviously was made before, any of the two, whatchamacallits, Town That Dreaded Sundowns, and it features a guy with a very similar kind of a thing over the face with eye holes, and this version actually has his mouth cut out, which is kind of creepy when you can kind of see his mouth. You don't really see the killer's, this garb too much where you see his masked face. I don't think too much. I think, God, it might only be one scene or two scenes, but it's pretty cool look that frankly, in my opinion, doesn't get to, which isn't shown as much as it should be. But this is a movie that very similar, could very well be a Dario Argento movie where it follows the same type of, there's no zombies in this, so it follows the same type of whatever, plot, so as so many Dario Argentos does, with this mystery of who the killer is and the unseen killer, and normally it's just gloves in an Argento movie and whatever, and so it's very Dario Argento-ish in that aspect, and I can't stress how much the music is just great, and the women are just great, and whatever. So it's just this cool early 70s, just, sexploitation. The term sexploitation just comes to mind, and a movie with just naked women, and the violence, this is 72, so it's kind of before the violence that they really got good at it, or maybe it's just the particular people who made this movie. But the violence, I guess I should have watched the Italian version. I don't know if there's more violence in the Italian version or not, but the violence that is in this version, when they show a really, really quick cut or shot of like a knife cutting someone's throat or whatever, cutting something, it's just a completely, like, the color of the supposed flesh or whatever is like completely white and completely unrealistic. So like, this isn't, and if you want to see some of the really good Italian gore, this isn't a movie about that. It's more like I say, a sexploitation movie where it's more about naked women and whatever, sex obsession or whatever. I don't even know, like, he has this saw, like this saw that like this, and very much like Pieces would end up doing like a decade later. He goes around and like saws off arms and shit, but I don't think you ever really find out why he's sawing off shit. Like, if he's taking the body parts back, maybe he collects torsos. I don't know. I for some reason lately I've had had a hard time like retaining what I watch lately. It's just like, I watch all these movies and it's just like, what happened in them? So maybe I'm losing my mind. It very well could be. But a lot of these movies are just so weird. It's just like, what the hell happened? But this movie is actually one of the better, having rewatched it, and especially the music and the women. It's just like, that's kind of cool. And like the last 20 minutes or something in this movie is like kind of a really kind of cool, where it's just really maybe not all suspense, but really kind of cool. And halfway through the movie or whatever, these young girls, beautiful women, go to this place that's like supposed to in the country or whatever. It's this like house that's just high up right on the edge of this mountain. It's like, who the hell would stay in that thing when it's gonna just fall off the mountain? The whole the whole mountain underneath the house can just give way and you just come crashing. I wouldn't sleep very well on top of a mountain when the house can just crumble at any minute down the mountainside. But that's another story. But this particular movie, and obviously I just watched the American version, which is called Torso, is going to get the biggest rating of any of these Italian horror movies that I'm reviewing today, which is going to be 2.5 stars. I think Torso is this cool, pretty hip, cool, early 70s whodunit kind of a thriller thing with, obviously, like so many of these whodunit movies, you paint everyone as a suspect, and every guy, and then it just comes across these girl characters is just like, sexual deviance or whatever. So anyone's a suspect, and of course it's who you never suspect and all this shit. I won't say who it is, but I kind of just gave it away. But So 2.5 stars out of 4 for Torso, which is the American version of like carnal violence or whatever the hell it's called. Again, this is a really cool stylistic Italian, well, might as well just say a horror movie, Italian movie, thriller, but it's not what you'd call what I'd call a gore fest. You know, it's you're not going to want to watch it for gore fest because you're not going to get a lot of gore fest. Women fest, nudity fest, yeah, you know, it's pretty good if you're like, you know, yeah. If you want to see that stuff. So 2.5 stars. It's more or less recommended. The Blu-ray I got. I can't remember the outfit that put it out. About the Blu-ray. Maybe it's like, I don't know. It's some outfit. The Blu-ray I got's pretty gosh darn cool. Like I say, it features US and Italian versions. I should really watch the Italian one, see what the extra 3 minutes is. Probably just nothing. I don't know. If you know what the extra 3 minutes is in the Italian version, feel free to leave it. Tell me in the comments. But that's my review of Torso. Kind of cool. I mean, not the greatest thing in the world, but just seeing, like, you know, actually, I think what is Rome or Italy countryside, and you know, the women. I can't stress like some of the women in this movie and some of the outfits they wear is just like cool, and the music is just so cool. You know, just so early 70s and cool in my opinion. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.